Hopefully. Okay, good. So maybe while we're waiting, everyone can just introduce themselves and maybe say what you're hoping to get out of this workshop today, or maybe what you're experiencing personally with your own hormones.
Mm-hmm. Who's going to be the lucky starter? That's always the.
And let me jump in then.
Okay, awesome.
I know I can just break the ice. I know when I was in my later 30s, my hair started to thin a lot, almost where I felt like I was going to be one of those bald ladies. And I just, self-diagnosing, and I was just looking up why my hair would be thinning so much. And I decided that I would try, using remedies for hormonal imbalance. And for a long time, my hair hadn't grown past my shoulders. And now I have it almost down my mid-back. So it's been growing, it's been getting thicker, it's strengthening. And I have an essential oil tonic as my remedy. So it's really fun to share things like that. So thanks for those of you who have said hello to me. Hi, Natalie and Nella and Carol.
I know Di wanted to share with us. Di, are you still keen?
Yeah, I don't know if I'm menopausal or premenopausal, but I seem to go into a space of everything seemed to be okay and calm, and then all of a sudden nothing was okay and calm. So yeah, I'm at the stage now where I need to sort of get reassessed to see where I'm at in this phase of our lives. And somehow to make peace with it, because the sweats and things are quite something to get used to. Being woken up in the middle of the night, just not getting a good night's sleep. I suppose I also need to accept why we're just constantly challenged with these sort of physical changes all the time. So I think there's a lot of acceptance also that I need to go through, that if there's something that I can do sort of physically, or sort of, if there's ways that I can be to sort of provide some balance, then that's what I need to sort of find out and start working with, because I somehow can't believe that this is all as it should be. I feel like maybe I'm fighting something, or I'm not doing something that is in line with how I should be dealing with it.
Well, thanks for sharing. I know a lot of women who are going through very similar situations, and it is one of the symptoms that of our change when we go through that ending of our cycle. So we'll be talking about that. So hopefully we'll adjust that for you. Thank you for sharing.
Is there anyone else who would like to share? Trace, off you go.
I've been in menopause. I went into menopause overnight when I turned 50. I literally woke up and I was fine one day, and then the next day I was in full-blown menopause, literally from having one set of blood tests done to the next. So I empathize with Di, because it really is a lot to deal with, because it's the emotional side of it as well as the physical side of it, because it's coming to terms with, it's kind of your womanhood, suddenly, you can't have children anymore, and you just think of yourself as old. And I guess in years gone by, that was when we started taking care of our grandchildren. Our roles changed within the hierarchy of where we kind of, not hierarchy, but our sense of where we fitted in. And I think that today we are far more useful than we were then. I mean, I look at my mom at my age, and my gran, and even though I come from a very youthful background, and they still look incredible for their age. I mean, my gran at 91 had the most unbelievable skin. It's still the psychological the psychological feelings you have to embrace as much as, you know, and it's those night sweats. And I must say that the homeopathic and the essential oils and all of that help me, because I'm very much a person that fights Western medicine. I'm a lot more of an Eastern person. So I was forced to go on HRT initially because I just kept passing out and they couldn't find out what it was. So they had to stop that from happening, because I would literally be here and the next minute I'd be out cold. And they couldn't find out what it was. And because I'd had the one test done and it was all, you know, it was all fine. So it's a horrible, at the time, it's something that is hard to embrace. And now 5 years down the line, I'm like, result, no more monthly. I don't have those fluctuations in the same way. And I'm a far more grounded person in some ways. But I definitely think that, you know, Karuna, what you're going to teach us tonight is going to be beneficial for all of those, particularly going through that. I mean, we all go through hormonal cycles, but menopause, I think, is one of the worst purely from a psychological point of view, because you feel like you've lost your womanhood. You feel like suddenly everything, life's come to an end, even though it hasn't, it's just starting. It's the fact that you can't bear children anymore. That's, for me, was the biggest thing. Not that my kids would have probably had a heart attack if I'd have popped out another one. But, you know, it's an ending. It's an ending as much as it's a new beginning. So die, shame, I feel you, eh? Yeah. Thanks, Sophie. Thanks, Karuna.
Thanks, Trace. Hi, Natalie.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Welcome.
That's it. Sorry I'm late. There's
No
chaos
problem.
with the children.
That's okay. We were just going around, and for those that'd like to introduce themselves and just discuss any kind of symptoms or things that you may be experiencing with regards to hormones, so that Karuna can also cover those during the course of tonight's workshop.
Okay, so it's my turn.
No pressure.
So hello, everybody. I think my experience with hormones is a fairly kind of, I would say, new, even though I'm almost 40. But at the beginning of last year, I found out I have a hormone imbalance, and I had very, very high estrogen, which can be dangerous. It's a precursor to cancer and all these sorts of things. But because my estrogen was out, almost all the hormones in my body were out. And I was absolutely exhausted. I felt like, I mean, the year before I had actually gone to my GP and I said, I feel like I can't cope with life. I had really bad brain fog. Eventually I started getting like pins and needles in my arms. And my body was just, the hormones were out of whack, and my body was so inflamed that, I mean, I was diagnosed with fibromyalgia, and I was like, no, surely I don't have that. And I've learned very much through eating and my diet just how much it impacts me personally and how my body reacts to certain foods and doesn't like them. And I think my diet has had a huge role to play in just balancing my hormones, but I am keen to learn other things and other ways, and that's why I'm very keen for tonight's session, is just to understand what else I could do that's natural, that can help that, and something sustainable as well. So that's me.
Thank you so much for sharing, Natalie. Yeah, I hope we can really address all of these topics that you're talking about, because I know that it's a major concern for all of us as women, you know. So, Sophia, I don't know if you want to start to, does anyone else want to share before we start the slideshow? And if you don't want to share now, you're welcome to share maybe toward the end, or, you know, as we start talking about different topics.
All good.
Okay.
All right, I'm just going to find it quickly and I'll share the screen now. Bear with me a sec.
I have my glasses handy.
Sorry, bear with me, guys.
Mhm.
Okay, someone else
One
is
of
joining.
the beautiful side, one of the beautiful side effects of getting older is our eyes are changing as well. My arm doesn't seem to be getting long enough.
Yes.
I have to get myself some readers.
Okay, let me see. So let me know if you can see this. One sec. There we go. Can you guys see that?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so you guys can see it.
Mhm.
Okay, fantastic. All right, so you tell me where you want me to go, Karuna. I'll follow your.
Okay. Well, basically, welcome everyone. Welcome, ladies. I feel like this is a sacred and safe container, especially when we're talking about women's health and these sensitive issues and the changes that we're all going through, you know, from when we're a young girl, prepubescent, and we start our first menses, and then we start going through our cycle through pregnancy, miscarriages, loss, you know, and then we move through our pre and menopause and then postmenopause cycle. And all of these affect our emotional state, our mind state, the nervous system, all systems of our body in such a deep, deep level. So my hope today is to help shed some light and shed some wisdom and maybe some tips that you can use to start integrating some natural remedies to help create balance. So a little bit about myself for those of you who don't know me. My name is Karuna DeLibero, and right now I am living in Oregon on the Pacific coast of the United States. And I have been traveling internationally since 2012 to teach people how to live naturally. So my background is I've been teaching yoga for over 2 decades now, and I'm also an Ayurvedic health counselor, and I have been studying aromatherapy, herbs, energy medicine, and just sustainable ways of living for a number of years, for pretty much since I was living on my own. I just really started to explore health because I felt that the way I was taught, the way I've grown up in, especially here in the United States, a land of consumerism and gluttony and disposableness, it can be very challenging not to get up in the whole psychology of that consumerism and thinking and getting caught up in the mainstream and, you know, and not go the pharmaceutical route. Now, for me, I've always chosen plant remedies because I've always had a very intimate connection with nature. And for me, I have also always been drawn to ancestral ways, ancestral wisdom, and their intimate connection and relationship and stewardship with the earth, and how you know, many indigenous cultural societies have sustained very healthily and happily for millennia, and then modern medicine comes along and we have more problems than we have ever had before health-wise. I have had 3 friends personally who have committed suicide from mental illness and depression, and not being able to deal with their severe overwhelm and stress. And a lot of it, you know, stems from just our daily habits. So when I started to study Ayurveda, for those of you who don't know what that is the sister science of yoga, and it's the Indian form of preventative medicine. And they believe that instead of waiting until you have a medical crisis, that we need to really set up our life with individual habits that create each day that are going to move us toward optimal health, rather than our habits really degenerating our health and breaking down. And I like to believe that I am youthing and not aging. So just so that you know, I am probably, I'm not even sure if I'm in that pre-menopause stage yet, even though I am going to be 50 in May next year. So I believe that when we are suffering from different imbalances in the body, that is our body telling us that we're not living according to our true nature. So my job as an Ayurvedic health counselor is to work with people individually to help them find out what their individual constitution is and their true nature and how they're living right now in their current state, and comparing that and seeing if they're in balance. And usually when we're feeling symptomatic, we are not feeling that there's imbalance. So there's ways to bring ourselves back into balance. So let's, I'm gonna turn it over to Sophia, because I don't know if there's people who do not know Sophia, and we'll also be sharing this recording. So Sophia, do you want to introduce yourself? You're muted.
There we go. All right. I think everyone knows me pretty well.
I know, but we'll be sharing the recording too. So
that's perfect. Okay,
so
perfect. So my background, I started teaching yoga 3 years ago, actually, on the 1st of September. I still remember holding my very first park class in Thornhill Estate, and I was still working in corporate at the time. I was working for Avis Rent-A-Car. I was there for 22 years, and kind of like the last 5 years, I knew that something had to change, that I was not where I was. I had suffered from depression for 17 years. Starting in my early 20s, and I was on medication for a very long time. And I felt during that time that I was just living with my head just above water, just coping. So I was totally unaware of what was going on around me, and I feel that was the medication that was coursing through me. And it was only after I found yoga and meditation that I decided to wean myself off my medication. And I started following a path of yoga. And from then, I started becoming more aware, and things just opened up for me completely. So it was a huge shift in my life. And that happened at about 38, 39 years old. And I eventually left the corporate world about 2 years ago, and I've been teaching full time, and I've really gone wild with all my trainings. I mean, I've done 4 different teacher trainings of yoga. I've done hatha, I've done forest yoga, I've done vinyasa. I'm busy doing my Kundalini teacher training, and as I continue this training, I'm just opening up more doors for myself in ways of learning for myself. And the more I learn, the more I want to share and teach. And the essential oils also happened to me while I was still in corporate. Funny enough, it was about almost 2 years ago. So it was just as I was kind of leaving corporate and I'd entered the yoga world that I ended up going to an essential oil workshop in Randburg, and I met Cheryl there, and she introduced me to my first essential oil class that we did in a yin setting, and it was beautiful. I fell in love with the oils straight away, and I thought, okay, so this is another door that's opened for me. I've got to start playing with these oils. And then I was introduced to Karuna, and yeah, the rest is history. And so I I'm very fortunate to have Karuna and all her knowledge so that we can share it with you guys. And yeah, this is where I am at the moment, and my journey is just beginning, and I'm just so excited to be able to share it with everyone. So that's where I am. Thank you, Karuna.
You're welcome. That's so beautiful. Thank you so much. It's interesting because I did not know that part about you, that you had suffered depression so much, because I too have suffered major depression in my young life, from probably 11 to I don't know, maybe like 24 or something, for a real long time. And I felt suicidal, and I was on antidepressants for a year, and you know, I found yoga, or yoga found me, and I went to India and studied, and also weaned myself off my meds, and I haven't gone back on them since. And I feel that the practice is such a savior, and if we can really dive deep into committing to our personal journey and our healing, we really have the power to transform. So if you want to just put your screen, Sophie, in the preview presentation, and then move us to the next slide, please. That way they don't see all that distraction in the background. So in this workshop today, what we want to cover is, we just want you to be able to take away 3 things, the top 3 things that you need to know about using essential oils to balance your hormones, and 3 ways to safely use essential oils. And we're going to introduce to you the 5 pillars of health, known as LEANS, L-E-A-N-S, which will see what that acronym means, and also help you develop a customized plan for yourself. So the next slide, we're just going to dive right into, if you can switch to the next slide. So the top 3 things that you need to know about the essential oils is that number 1, they are safe. So I know Sophia has introduced a lot of you to the oils, so I'm just going to invite you to have an experience with them if you have your oils right now. Peppermint is a very common one here, and you'll see that this is the first one on the slide. And if you have it, you can just open up your bottle of peppermint oil. And we're just going to put a drop of oil in our hand. And peppermint oil is very strong, so you'll notice that you can smell it immediately. We're going to rub our hands together, and please don't touch your eyes, because it's like getting a hot pepper in your eyes. And if that happens, you're going to use a carrier oil, and you can just don't wash your hands with soap and water, because that will make it worse. But we're just going to hold our hands in front of our face. And close your eyes and just begin to take some deep breaths. And breathing in the aroma of peppermint oil, if you have that. If not, just using the breath to ground down into our sacred container here. And there's 3 different ways that you can use doTERRA's essential oils. So we just use them aromatically right here by smelling them, and you can just smell them right out of the bottle, or use a diffuser. You're going to rub your thumb over the palm of your hand, and then you're going to put the thumb on the roof of your mouth. And this is one way we can take them internally. So not only will you notice how strong the taste is, but it will freshen your breath. And it also soothes your digestion. We're going to massage our neck and shoulders. And ladies, you that are experiencing hot flashes, peppermint oil is very cooling. So for most people, it's cooling. I've only ever met one person who said that they felt like it was heating. So just know that everyone receives and reacts to the oils differently. So now we've just used doTERRA's essential oils in 3 different ways. We've used them aromatically, topically, and internally. So know that doTERRA's essential oils are safe, which is one of the only reasons why we can use them internally. When you do research online or look up anything about aromatherapy, you'll see that there are two different schools of thought with aromatherapy, the French and the English. And one says that you should absolutely not ingest essential oils. The other says, yes, it's okay. Now, we are working with doTERRA, so we know that these oils are scientifically and medically proven to be free of any chemicals, fertilizers, synthetics, any foreign plants, and any foreign weeds. So these essential oils are tested third party, not by doTERRA, by other companies that are not financially invested in the outcome over the result, up to 13 times to make sure that these oils are 100% pure. So they are guaranteed. And just so you know, you'll see that on the bottom, I'm directionally challenged with my camera here. So on the bottom of the bottle, you'll see that there is a quality control number, and you can type that into doTERRA's website, sourcetoyou.com, and you can look up the GCMS testing report, which will show you the safety, and if you're looking at these oils to use them medically and for specific health reasons, you'll see all the chemical constants in them. And if you know about the chemical constants, you can begin to know how they react in the body. But you don't have to know all that, the science. All you need to know is that when we use doTERRA, that they are absolutely guaranteed to be 100% pure. And why is that important? Because there is no worldwide regulation on essential oils today, meaning that any company can call an essential oil 100% pure or all natural, 100% natural, even if there's less than 10% of that essential oil in the bottle. And it could be filled with other synthetics that mimic the smell, other plants that mimic the smell. But again, when we're using oils for health reasons, those synthetics or unpure oils can actually make your health issues worse rather than better. And even when we're using them aromatically, because the nose is a direct gateway to the brain. And what if you choose, for example, to eat organic food, which I highly recommend, because one of the reasons why we're dealing with symptoms in our phases is because much of our food, the commercially generated food, is pumped with hormones and chemicals, which disrupt our natural ability to produce our own hormones and stay balanced. So number one, eat organic, start shopping for organic foods. That includes meat if you eat meat. And okay, so the next slide we're going to jump to is number 2. So the second thing is that the essential oils, doTERRA's essential oils, are effective. One of the reasons why they're so effective is because they're so pure, and also there is an oily membrane coating around each one of our cells. And what doesn't mix with oil? Anybody?
Water.
Exactly. So a lot of our over-the-counter medicine, pharmaceutical medicines, are water-based and synthetic, and that is not able to permeate inside our cell membrane, which is where viruses and bacteria exist. However, essential oils are oils, so they're able to permeate the cellular membrane and actually can kill viruses and bacteria. And essential oils actually affect all 12 systems of our body, which is pretty phenomenal because essential oils have so many different chemical constants within them that they work on a multi-dimensional level in our body. So say we're using peppermint oil or lavender oil here to relax, all right? So lavender oil is a known oil to help us relax, and it helps us to ease the nervous system. And so if we're using lavender to relax the nervous system, it may also help us sleep better throughout the night. Lavender oil is also coming from flowers, so this is also a cooling oil. The next slide we're going to move to is number 3. The third cool thing about doTERRA's essential oils is that they are actually really affordable. I hear a lot of times people say that they initially feel that the essential oils may be expensive on the front end, but if we're looking at our health, okay, so let's say, you know, we go to the doctor. So you have to pay for your doctor visit and the time that you take to get out of work, or the gas that it costs you to get there. Many people have health insurance, so you're paying a copay on your health insurance and an annual payment, right? And then 9 times out of 10, the doctor, modern doctors, they're all about disease and addressing disease, whereas functional medicine, alternative medicine, natural medicine is focusing on the root cause. And so this number is actually, the 6.5 trillion is actually a low number. If you look at, I can't remember what the website I just looked at the other day, it's like World Clock or something, or World Counter or World Meter. And it's actually up to $8 trillion that we are spending globally on healthcare. And yet, if you look around, all the major diseases are on the rise. And there's more people addicted to pharmaceutical drugs. There's more people that are suffering from mental illness. And many common issues like indigestion, hormonal balance, fatigue, sleep issues, many weight issues, many things that people are considering a product of getting older, that they're just dealing with, we don't have to deal with. So know that doTERRA's oils are much more economical because let's say this is the 15 milliliter bottle here, and there's about 250 drops in here. And if we were to do the math, this bottle is about $20 US. And if we were to divide 250 by 20, I'm terrible at math, so if someone wants to do the math, they can do that. But balance oil, for example, is one that we can use every day to help us balance our emotions and help us feel grounded. So instead of reaching for, and I'm not saying not to use your pharmaceutical, your prescription drugs, we can use this in conjunction with, but a lot of times we don't want to take that and we want to find an alternative. So this is one of the ones that I use every day to help me maintain my emotional balance. And I can do so by simply putting a couple of drops on the palms of my hands and rubbing my hands together and putting them on, massaging that oil on the soles of my feet. And when we put essential oils on the soles of the feet, they move into the bloodstream within just a few minutes into all systems of the body. Okay, so the next slide here. We're going to talk about 3 ways to use essential oils, which we did: aromatic, topically, and internal. But we have some notes here. So with balance that I was just showing you, this is a major game player. And I tried to choose a lot of the products that you have available in South Africa, but know that this is a PowerPoint presentation that I use here in the States and in other countries, and know that doTERRA has obviously started in the United States, so we have access to all the products. And since doTERRA just opened their market in South Africa last year, you have a limited access to the products, but know that doTERRA is adding products to your country and working really hard with your government to get their products in as fast as they can. So if we don't have something, don't be too disappointed. I live here in the States, and Sophie and I are good friends and connected, and if you want, we can work out, we can order them here, and I can send you a package there. So if you see something that you want and it's not on your list, then we can help you get that. But balance is so amazing to address hormonal symptoms, and this oil is a blend of, let's see, this is a blend of spruce, hoe wood, which is in the rose family, frankincense, the king of oils, blue tansy, blue chamomile, and osmanthus flower. So not only does this blend have wood oils in here, and when we're looking at plants, we want to look at the quality of the plant and which part of the plant the essential oil is coming from. So when we're talking about tree oils, think of the qualities of trees. They're very grounded and stable, and that helps promote grounding and stable effects in us. And with the florals are very uplifting. So florals generally uplift the mood. So this is a blend of wood and florals, which has a positive effect on the mood. It cleanses the air and it helps you open the airways. And, you know, since I have been a yoga teacher for a couple decades now, and Sophia is a yoga teacher too, I'm sure you've experienced this in her yoga classes. So, you know, it's great to use in your yoga classes. Sometimes when I'm teaching a balance class, we'll do our balance poses without the oil, and then we'll put the balance oil on the soles of our feet, and we'll do the same sequence again and see how we feel. And a lot of times people can see the immediate effect that the oil can have on you, because, like I said, when you put it on the soles of the feet, it enters into the bloodstream. So it's affecting all 12 systems of the body. And number one, the nervous system. So this is an amazing one that invokes overall feelings of tranquility and balance. And when you inhale it, it has this warm, woody aroma. And for me, it almost reminds me of being in a forest, you know? So when we're out in nature, which is another thing that is really great to be able to do, especially since it's springtime coming up for you all in South Africa, is to start connecting with nature and get outside, go for walks, and this too will relax the nervous system because we also have to exercise. So this oil also relieves tension when we feel moments of anxiousness, and frankincense provides that balancing effect on the emotions. Frankincense also has the ability, when you smell it aromatically, so frankincense is a good one to practice pranayama with, breathing exercises, or when you feel that mental fog or fatigue, because when you breathe just 10 deep breaths of frankincense oil, it actually reduces the inflammation in the brain. So you can use balance as a mood reset, and you can also layer it and combine it with other essential oils to create a synergistic effect. So say you're having trouble sleeping or staying asleep throughout the night. You could put balance in your diffuser next to your bed with some of the oils that we'll talk about upcoming to help alleviate sleeping issues. So in the next slide, we're going to talk about topical. So here, bergamot is an amazing oil that is like a mood alterer. So this is used a lot. I work really closely with my mentor in doTERRA. She's, her name, excuse me, is Dr. Danielle Daniel. She's a PhD psychotherapist, and she coined the term psycho-aromatherapy. And you can follow her on social media. Dr. Danielle Daniels, she's known as the Holistic Psych. And she has been working with doTERRA for, I think, about 8 years now. I'm not quite sure, maybe 6 years, 8 years, whatever. But regardless, she's worked with aromatherapy for 20 years. And when she found doTERRA, it really made a difference, because she started integrating it into her therapy practice, where she would work in the clinic and meet with teenagers who were dealing with severe trauma. And bergamot is a really great one that she would put in her diffuser, and it would have calming effects immediately. So bergamot is extracted from the rind of the fruit. So it's because it's coming from a citrus fruit, from the rind, all the citrus oils are coming from the peel. So when you peel a citrus fruit, you'll see the little pores on the rind, and that liquid that pops out is the essential oil. So that's what's extracted. And bergamot has a sweet citrusy aroma. And this also blends well with other blends, and it's often used in the perfume industry. So this helps to ease feelings of unhappiness and promote feelings of joy. So when we're feeling, whether we're feeling premenstrual, or we're working on letting go of our cycle, and I can testify to that because there have been a few times where I've skipped months and I felt like, oh, is this the start of my cycle starting to, wane off? And I have to say, I can relate to what that feels like, because it is like a death. It's like a part of yourself. It's like a death of your real physical opportunity to give birth. And whether or not we've given birth or not, it's a huge loss. Whether we want to give birth or not, it's a huge letting go, and it is a different way to move through our womanhood. So using oils to help our mood will really support us through these transitional phases. So know that bergamot has uplifting qualities that will add lightness to your day. And when you combine it with peppermint, it can help you focus for your task at hand. So it can really help you deepen your concentration, because I know when we're going through these cycles, we can start to get flighty or spacey, or, just start to forget things. And so this can really help you stay focused throughout your day and uplift your mood. You can also make little roller blends and combine oils with the carrier oil of fractionated coconut oil. And if you're not sure how to do that, then talk to the person who invited you to this class, and we'll show you how you can make some blends specifically for yourself. This is a blend that is really beautiful to diffuse with lavender oil, because the bergamot is uplifting. Because when we're talking about citrus oils are very uplifting. It's like sunshine or happiness in a bottle. When you smell them, you can't help but, just feel a little bit of joy, if not a real deep sense of joy. And I have to say, for myself, Wild Orange was my gateway doTERRA oil, and I had the most phenomenal experience with it, because I have been suffering with emotional balance, depression throughout my life. And also later I learned energetically that it's the oil of abundance. I really resonated with it. And because when we smell something and it goes right into the limbic system, which is the most primal part of our brain, it triggers memory. and emotions. So for me, it triggered really beautiful memories of my grandmother. And what we can do with aromatherapy is we can begin to repattern our subconscious mind with different scents and meditations and affirmations, so that you know, we don't move into negative patterns that may have been learned, you know. So you can also add a few drops in a warm bath with some Epsom salts, and this will greatly invoke a sense of love and self-care, because when we're going through, no matter what phase of our cycle, we, especially I feel as Westerners, as women in this day and age, no one really talks about it, right? It's very hush-hush. We maybe learn it in school. I know my mom, she's a very old school, old-fashioned, Roman Catholic Italian lady, didn't want to talk about sex or your period or bleeding or anything like that. It was, you know, I had to kind of pull information out of her. But I think that the more that we can talk to each other, to young girls, to talk about menopause and what's going on, the more we'll realize that we're not alone, and that we need to really value the process at all stages. So bergamot helps to invoke a real deep sense of self-worth and self-acceptance, and it's so good to just really begin to start treating yourself with some self-love. So the next slide we're going to jump to is internal, which we talked about when we put the peppermint oil on the roof of our mouth. So clary sage is going to be the #1 hormonal balancer. It's going to be your best friend. Now, I love clary sage. I have it right here. What I wanted to do, a little DIY project right here, because I'm out of my blend and I use this all the time. So I have a glass 2-ounce bottle right here. And when we're using a 2-ounce bottle, I'm gonna put about 6 to 10 drops of my clary sage in here. And then I'm just gonna fill the rest with water. I'm gonna get a little funnel. Now, I would normally, when you make blends, you would be making blends with distilled water, because distilled water is not going to go funky. But I know that I use this so fast. It's only 2 ounces, so you know, I don't have to worry about it going funky. And this is something that I keep in my purse all the time. Just put a little water, and of course I overfilled it.
Can I cut in there quickly, Karuna?
Please. Yes.
Just a quick one. Can everyone see Karuna? Because I can't, because I'm sharing the screen. So I'm just assuming everyone else can.
Yes, I can see her.
Okay, great.
Okay, good. So I just put some water in here, and I'm going to put my cover on, my cap, and screw that on. Wipe off my table because I spilled a little bit. That's okay. Everything smells really good. Clary sage comes from the flower of the clary sage plant. So florals, again, are uplifting. And this is really good for not only hormonal balance, but it's really great for your skin. It promotes your hair growth. This one is such a great one. So, you know, you just shake it up, close your eyes. And I just spray myself. I use it like as a hairspray. Sometimes I'll use it under my arms as deodorant. I'll bring it in my car, freshen up my car. I keep it with me everywhere. And it also, for me, is very mood uplifting. So this is an oil too, with when we're dealing with hormonal balance. You can also put a couple drops in a veggie cap and take that internally daily, or put a drop right underneath your tongue. But usually when you do that, you'll get more than one, but less is going to benefit you more, okay? So ideally, you don't want to get more than one drop underneath your tongue, because it's just so strong. Essential oils are so potent, and this is one of the reasons why there is such controversy about taking essential oils internally. not only are about 80% of the oils on the worldwide market adulterated, but they're so powerful. So when they are in their pure form, you know, like 1 drop of peppermint oil is like drinking 28 cups of peppermint tea. So you want to be very mindful when you're taking them internally, okay? So the next slide we're going to jump to is going to be the 5 pillars of hormonal health. So we're going to get into the lean. So we're going to jump right on to the next slide, which just leans. So the L stands for lifestyle. Okay, so we want to help you create daily habits that are going to, like I said, build up your health rather than degrade it, okay? Because everything that we choose to do, no matter what it is, how we choose to wake up, and maybe we do our yoga practice and meditate, or maybe you look right at your phone and start getting into the digital world and the mind just starts to get all in that space. So these habits will set yourself up not only for how you're going to move through your day, but how you're going to experience your life. So in the United States, I don't know about you guys in South Africa, but in the United States, we have this, it's called the Standard American Diet, which is in the shape of a pyramid. And Standard American Diet stands, or the acronym is SAD, SAD, because the American diet is making people obese, diabetic, have heart disease, mental illness, digestive problems, and it is degrading our health. It is not making us healthier. And our food in the United States is 200 times less nutritive than what my grandparents ate. So we have a serious issue, not only in America, but in the world. So it starts with us, right? The healing starts with us. And we need the bottom of the pyramid. So doTERRA recreated the Standard American Diet, and the foundation of health is eating right. So if you are eating meats that are pumped with hormones, like not organic meat, local, not meat that's not local, meat that's been shipped from who knows where, that's been slaughtered as it's going into fear. If an animal's being slaughtered in fear, you're eating that subtle energy, and then people are resonating that out in their nervous system, and they're also suffering the hormonal effects from that. So again, eating organic is number one. So and then the next stage is exercising. Many people in the Western world have become so sedentary, and they move from sleeping to eating their breakfast, to sitting in their car, to sitting at the desk, to then coming home and sitting on their couch and watching TV all night and then going to sleep. No one's moving their body anymore. No one's getting, not nobody, but a lot of people aren't getting outside. So we want to make sure that we are exercising, we're getting outside, and we are learning to rest and learn to manage our stress, which is the next level. We're going to show you how to do that and how to reduce your toxic load, and how to be informed about your own self-care and be proactive about your medical care. So the next slide we're going to go to, we're going to talk about essential oils for hormonal balance. So I talked about clary sage here, and let's just go into a little bit more detail. So I'm just going to put on my glasses here. So one of the reasons why we resonate so well with clary sage is because it contains phytoestrogens, and a phytoestrogen are estrogens that are made from, they're naturally produced from plants. And because, like I said, plant cells are so similar to our cells, our body really is receptive to that, picking up those phytoestrogens. So clary sage is used to regulate your menstrual cycle, relieve PMS symptoms, treat infertility, PCOS, and reduce the chances of uterine and ovarian cancer, which is huge, right? I know I have a lot of friends who have suffered from that, and have had hysterectomies, and it seems like so many of my girlfriends who are in their late 40s here in the United States, like right around me here in Oregon, are getting hysterectomies, and it's like they're just taking it out as an elective surgery. Not that my friends are, but the doctors. So I feel that is something major. And so what, you know, we really need to look at maintaining the health of our uterus. Clary sage also serves as a natural remedy for emotional balances like depression and anxiety. So some things that you can do is diffuse 3 to 5 drops of clary sage to balance your hormone levels and to relieve stress. And to ease cramps and pain in the body, you can massage 5 drops of clary sage with 5 drops of coconut oil onto your stomach or any other areas of concern. So, Sophia, do you want to talk about the next slide about Clary Calm?
I was just going to, I didn't see even that. I was just going to say Clary Calm is also, that's the one I actually started with, was Clary Calm. So that's a blend of clary sage. I don't have it with me. I don't know if you have it with you, Karuna, but it is I don't have the ingredients. Oh, there we go. Okay, it's got lavender. It's got clary sage, it's got bergamot, it's got Roman chamomile, lang-lang, cedarwood, geranium, fennel, carrot seed, palmarosa, and vitex or berry essential oil. And that is, I've actually got it next to my bed, and I've got one in my bag. So it's really useful for me, especially over that time of the month, especially before. According to my husband, mine lasts for 3 weeks in a month. So I have that going strong throughout the house. And my daughter uses it too, and she's actually found it very useful. I also find with the teenagers, and I don't know if you remember many years ago when we first started, our cycles used to last for a long time, and we used to have heavy cramps and heavy lower back issues or lower back cramps from our periods. So I find with the teenagers, this helps so much. So my daughter really does make use of this one often. So it provides soothing and calming effects during our menstrual cycles. It also has this beautiful aroma which helps soothe and balance our emotions. And it also helps to balance the mood throughout the month. So not only using it around our cycles, but throughout the month. And I don't know, Karuna, with regards to those that don't have cycles anymore, I know we're still able to use it because our bodies are still going through an internal cycle, right? And we're still going through a whole lot of emotions. Yeah. So using it, that's why it's called the monthly blend for women. So whether you have your menstrual cycle or not.
Yeah, this is great for all stages of women's health and throughout the month. And I have a friend who has had really hard cycles, and then she has now stopped her cycles, and she still uses it because she feels that it does help her maintain her hormonal balance. And she doesn't want to do the hormone replacement or anything like that. So she's really working to balance her hormones with her oils. And she says that she loves it so much that she just wears it every single day as a perfume. So what's really good about that is that when you're wearing it as a perfume, remember when your mom taught you to put on perfume? So we just take the Clary Calm, and we would put it on the pulse points of our wrists, rub our wrists together. And then my mom would always tell me just to rub your wrist right on the pulse points of your neck, or you can roll it right on the pulse points of your neck. And also when we're using essential oils to balance hormones and for emotional aromatherapy, we want to put it on the pulse points that I just showed you. and also on the base of the brainstem, right at the notch of the back of the head. So you can just roll it right over there, put it on your fingers and roll it over there, massage that little notch in the back of your head. And then again, you can also roll it right onto the soles of the feet or roll it on your hands and massage your feet. So those are really great ways to use the oils when we're using them for hormones and emotional aromatherapy. So thank you, Sophia, for sharing that. It's so important to, to hear those stories, I think. Okay, so let's see, the next slide we are going to talk about, we're going to go on with some more oils for hormonal balance. So some of them we have already mentioned, lavender. I'm just going to go into them with a little bit more detail. So lavender is one that I also never leave home without. I don't know if you can see that I barely have any left in my bottle of lavender. I use this every single day. And for me, when I feel that I am having any anxious feelings, and when you feel like you're having that panic feeling coming on, your heart just starts racing, and then you start to sweat. And this can also happen too when hot flashes are coming on. I have one of my best friends, Katie. I just saw her yesterday, and we talk about this all the time. She works as a nurse in the neonatal care unit here at the hospital locally, and she's dealing with parents whose babies are in critical condition and are born premature and maybe have some very rare diseases. So she's dealing with some very serious issues. And she says that when she starts talking to parents about the health condition of their baby, and she starts to have a hot flash, she says it just looks it's not only is it embarrassing for her, because she has to explain what's going on, because the parents start looking at her like, are you lying to us? Is our baby gonna die? And she has to explain to them what's happening, because like she'll have these patches of sweat, and you can see them on her, what do you call the nursing, their uniforms. And, and she's really like porcelain skin. She's very white and blonde, and she'll just turn fire engine red. And they're like, what is going on with you? Are you lying to us? Is our baby dying? And she's like, no. So we've worked a lot with her with essential oils, and we're working with hot flashes. And so she makes a blend, and that includes lavender. So she keeps it in just the pocket, and she'll just put it on periodically throughout the day before the hot flashes even come, so that she works preventatively. So lavender is a great one that helps to keep you cool, as well as treat anxiety, depression, moodiness, and stress. And also it promotes restful sleep, which we really need, because if we're not getting a proper night's sleep that's uninterrupted, if we keep waking up through the night, that's very disturbing to our nervous system, and that begins to disrupt our hormone production. So getting proper sleep is going to be very important. So you can diffuse lavender in your diffuser, like I said, and put it next to your bed. And you could even add cedarwood, which is a really good grounding oil, or balance, like I said previously, or the Serenity blend, which we haven't talked about yet. And then there's sandalwood, which I absolutely love. It's funny, all these hormonal oils I personally love. So you'll notice that a lot of times when you really resonate with an oil, it's what you really need. And then sometimes it's the total opposite. You're repelled from what you really need. So I invite you to just play with the oils and see how they affect you. But sandalwood, it comes from the sandalwood tree. And so it's a wood oil. So it's going to promote feelings of grounding, peaceful feelings, and it helps us to reduce overall stress, which again, when we reduce our stress, which we'll talk about with stress management, we are also helping to balance out our hormones. Because if we are stressed and we're dealing with that for an extended period of time, whether it's good stress or bad stress, that disrupts our hormone production. Now, the next one is time. And this one is quite interesting because you wouldn't really think, I wouldn't think of time, because this one I always think of when I'm making food, right? It's as if we think of it as a spice. But thyme oil improves progesterone production, which helps treat or relieve health issues like infertility, PCOS, menopause, depression, fibroids, hair loss. I also put thyme in my hair oil elixir, and insomnia. So to balance your hormones naturally, you could add 2 drops of thyme oil to a warm water bath, or 2 to 3 drops with equal parts of coconut oil, and massage your abdomen. And then frankincense oil we talked about, and frankincense is the king of oils, and this really enhances the effects of the other oils and promotes grounding. It also supports the immune system, the nervous system, the digestive system, and it's a good one to put in your diffuser if you're also having trouble sleeping at night. Okay, so the next slide we're going to move through is, let's see, that is recommended daily hormone EORX. So this is just like a sample, okay? This is an example of a routine using essential oils to help us balance our hormones. And it's also a way to receive immediate benefits of using doTERRA's oils every day and getting into that habit. Because just like anything else, it's like exercising a muscle. We have to get used to using our oils and the products daily so that they really have an effect, and we have to use them multiple times throughout the day, because with aromatherapy, it could be even every hour, which is why we diffuse, you know, so when we're using it aromatically, more is better. And then so you could apply peppermint and frankincense oils to the soles of your feet when you wake up in the morning. And peppermint oil is energizing and it helps wake you up. And frankincense is grounding. So you're not feeling like that spun out energy. You're feeling really centered and grounded and energized, so you can start moving forward with your day. And then in your diffuser, you could pop in, say, bergamot or citrus bliss, which is the invigorating blend, because sometimes people have a hard time getting going in the morning. So you could do that if you have a hard time getting going. Elevation is known as the joyful blend. So if you're feeling a little blue in the morning, you can mix some extra bergamot with elevation. And you can also blend them with Purify or On Guard, which kills germs and bacteria in the atmosphere. And this will lighten your mood and protects your home from unwanted pathogens at the same time, which is something we definitely want to do, especially in this day and age with what we're going through together worldwide. And then you can apply clary sage, lavender, or serenity, or a combination to the back of your neck or the temples. And when we do the temples, I always like to do more toward my hairline, because the oils tend to be so strong that I don't want them to move into my eyes at all. And then I'll just like maybe even massage my hair, because these oils are also really good to promote hair growth. So you can give yourself a little scalp massage. And also when you tap your head like this, it stimulates the crown chakra. So you can kind of wake that up and energetically move beyond those limits or boundaries. So know that just because we are maybe whether we're going through menopause now or have been, know that it doesn't have to be a derogatory thing. It's moving into what they would call, and I know this sounds derogatory, this word, but it's actually a beautiful word. But we actually move into the crone stage archetype, you know, in the archetype womanhood. And this represents the wise woman, the one who knows, right? The elder, the one all the youngsters come to for wisdom. So this is actually a place of honor because we become the wisdom keepers, and we can share the knowledge and our own personal experience with the younger generations, which is really a blessing. You can also add peppermint and lemon to your water during the day, and this will help you detox. Now, a lot of times we have hormone disruptors from so many different things: the air, the water, our food, products we're putting on our skin, and lemon works as a natural detoxer to help you detox. And I did a whole nother webinar on hormone disrupting toxins that are or toxins that disrupt the hormones. So if you're interested in that, I can share that with you. Okay, so the next slide we're going to go to is E, exercise. So the next picture is just a picture of exercise. You know, these people, one guy is sitting and doing yoga, and the other girl looks like she's getting ready to run. So no matter what form of exercise you choose, you've got to move your body. My guru, my yoga teacher would always say, you're only as old as your spine is young, meaning that the more flexible you can keep your spine, the more flexible, toned, strong, and limber you can keep your body, the younger you're going to be as you age. So like the old adage goes, use it or lose it. And you'll see some people who don't use it, and they become those people who their spine begins to become fused and they become hunchbacked into themselves. And then what happens? The whole front body compresses, so all their internal organs compress, and there's no room to function. So we have to keep that space and mobility and freedom in the body. Now, the next slide after the picture here talks about the deep blue family. And the deep blue is an essential oil blend known as the soothing blend that soothes muscles and joints. So when we're going through different stages of our cycle, I have some friends who have some crippling cycles that have to like call sick out of work all the time because of cramps, back pain, that radiates all the way down into their legs. So there's many different things that can happen. Can move deep into the nervous system. So deep blue is a great one. And I know that you don't have all these products, but I'm just going to run through them really quick. So here in the States, I'll go from left to right. Deep blue, that's a liter pump. And it's good for therapists to have in their clinic. Or I have, my mom's friend has Parkinson's disease, and she said that deep blue is the only thing that she uses to help her sleep throughout the night pain-free. So she'll rub this all over her body, and it's called deep because it goes deep, it penetrates deep into all 7 layers of tissue of the skin, deep into the muscle, and even into the bone. So it penetrates deep into the body, and you can feel that effect immediately. I also work here, I'm living out in the country, I work with a lot of farmers, and they do a lot of physical labor. So when they put this on, the cream form or the oil, they look at me and they're like, is it supposed to work this quickly? It does. It's amazing. And then deep blue polyphenol, you'll see the capsules. I don't think you have that yet. I don't believe you have any of the supplements yet.
Yeah, we don't have supplements yet.
Yeah. So this would be for someone who's suffering from chronic pain. And also I use that for headaches and for just body pains or cramps. And then, you know, each one of the following slides, I know you just got the deep blue rub, right?
Yes, we've got the deep blue rub and we've got the oil.
Do you want to talk about the deep blue?
I can. So
okay, great.
The deep blue is also one of my favorites. It's replaced our deep heat that we normally use when we have Autromiel, the normal medical ones that we would buy from the shops. Deep blue I bought first because it wasn't available here for a while. It's only just come in the last couple of months. It's amazing. Everyone uses it in the family. Even when like exercise has been hard and those muscles are aching, or if you're just holding tension in your neck and your upper back, just rubbing some deep blue, and the smell is amazing. I generally like the smell of wintergreen, which is what is in there, or one of the ingredients in there. So it's just got this beautiful smell, and it actually lasts for ages. So if I put it on before I go to bed at nighttime on my shoulders and my upper back, I can still smell it in the morning when I wake up. So it's a really, really strong, and they say too, if you've really got a lot of tension that you're holding, for instance, in your neck or upper back, you would use your deep blue rub, and to add more intensity, you would add a drop or two, or maybe just a drop of your deep blue oil into your little bit of cream that you put on, and rub that into your shoulders, and that just doubles the effect. So
That's a great tip.
yeah, so it's perfect for the athletes. It's blended in a base of moisturizing emollients that leaves your skin soft, non-greasy, provides a cooling and soothing sensation to your targeted area. So you definitely feel it. It's got this cooling effect. And like I say, it lasts forever, and it works straight away. No lies. Karuna was really telling the truth there. It's very powerful.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so the next slide we're just going to kind of gloss through. So I just want to say that when you do get the deep blue polyphenol complex, what they do here is they're taking out the wintergreen and the camphor, because those cannot be ingested as an essential oil. They're considered a toxin, so not all oils can be ingested. So they take those oils out, and then they put in ginger, turmeric, resveratrol, and other polyphenols to soothe occasional aches and discomforts. And this can be used in tandem with the deep blue rub or the soothing blend essential oil. And it also contains doTERRA's tummy tamer blend of peppermint, ginger, and caraway. And we're going to skip ahead to the next slide, which is deep blue soothing blend, which I know you guys have. And do you guys have it in the 10 milliliter roller or the touch yet?
I think we do. Natalie? I don't know. I haven't ordered one. I've still got the deep blue oil. I don't know, Nats, if you've ordered.
Let me see.
No, we've only got the oil and the deep blue rub. We don't have the roller touch yet.
Okay. Thanks, Natalie. Okay, so this is the 5 milliliter bottle. So deep blue comes in a 5 milliliter bottle, and it is a blend of the essential oils wintergreen, camphor, peppermint, ylang ylang, which is also good for hormone balance there and to alleviate the nervous system and help balance the moods, and helichrysum, which is known as stitches in a bottle. Helichrysum is also known as the oil for pain. And blue tansy and blue chamomile, which makes the oil blue. It actually has the chemical constituent chamazoline in there, and osmanthus flower. So this all together really supports the muscles and joints. Now the next slide, we're gonna go to our A stands for attitude. Okay, and we really want to talk about managing stress. So the next slide is mood management. And I know that you guys don't have doTERRA's emotional aromatherapy kit, but you will be getting that soon. So we're going to just kind of slide over that slide and talk about the next slide, because these are oils I know that you do have. So these oils are known as mood elevators, and they help to balance emotions as well as the hormones. So like we talked about balance, we kind of glossed upon citrus bliss, but this is the invigorating blend. And clary sage we talked about, joyful blend, the elevation, and petite grain. This is also comes from citrus oils. So you'll notice a lot of these are citrus. The citrus bliss, obviously, elevation has many citrus oils. Petite grain comes from citrus oils, and of course wild orange. So like I said, you cannot go wrong with citrus oils. So you can also use grapefruit, lemon, tangerine. Any citrus oils are going to help. So a combination or any of these singles will really help you. The next slide.
Maybe just a reminder as well, sorry, Karuna, about the citrus oils in daylight.
Oh, please, thank you.
Yeah. So,
Yeah,
so
especially since
citrus
they're coming up.
oils, yeah, are photosensitive. So they say that you shouldn't apply them onto your body where you'll be exposed to the sun for at least 12 hours. Karun, I wanted to actually ask you a question on that. So if we had to say, 'cause I think in one of the previous slides you mentioned one of the things that we can do is say have a warm Epsom salt bath with some bergamot. How would that affect us if we say have a bath at nighttime in 1 or 2 drops of bergamot and going into the sun kind of the next day? Would
Well, I
that
guess
affect
you'd
us
have
as
to kind
well?
of time it out, you know, because like it depends on what time. So I would just be
Okay.
mindful of the time
Mm.
and, you know, really, really be mindful because, you know, I lived in Mexico and dealing with essential oils, and sometimes people don't always listen to your suggestions and your precautions and have to experience unfortunate things for themselves. And I've seen citrus oil burns firsthand, and it can be horrible. It can look like a 3rd-degree burn. It can blister. It can be very painful, and it can take up to a year for the skin to fully heal where you can't see any mark at all. So please be very mindful. We're talking UV rays. We're talking tanning beds. I don't know if anyone uses those anymore, but do not go into like hot yoga, tanning bed, and then go to the beach or something. That is a very bad combination. So just be really mindful. And also never put citrus oils in plastic. They must always go in a glass container because citrus oils leach plastic, because citrus oils recognize the plastic as a petrochemical, which it is. So stop using plastic, friends, as much as you can. It's really degrading our planet and our water systems, and also it is a hormone disruptor. So use glass containers for your food. Don't store it in plastic bags anymore. Glass, glass, glass. Very, very important. We've become too dependent on plastic, and it's really disrupting our hormones. That's a major thing. So please be mindful of that. Now, the next slide, we're going to talk about nutrition because this is the foundation of health. Now, our mood, well, let me digress. 96% of dis-ease in your body originates in your gut. That means even mental illness, moods, emotions originates in your gut. So we have to have proper gut health. And I know that these next slides are going to make you a little jealous and sad, but we must talk about our gut health. So the next slide is doTERRA's #1 selling product in the United States, and this is called the Lifelong Vitality Pack Vitamin Supplements. I take these every day myself, and I find when I don't take them is when I really miss them. For me, they give me balanced energy, they help me balance my emotions, they're helping my hair and nails grow longer and stronger, and a host of other benefits. So the next slide, well, these support these are the foundation of health. So I recommend to my clients that everybody take these because we are not getting enough proper nutrition through our food, no matter how much we eat or try. And then it maximizes nutrition for energy, focus, and well-being. It also stimulates a healthy inflammatory response and immune function. So the next slide talks about the benefits, and you can just read through these. You know, if you want to pause the video and the recording, you can go back, but I know that you don't have this, so I don't want to talk about it too much. And then with the next slides, we're just going to talk about briefly, and I know you don't have these yet either, except for the Clary Calm. But excuse me. doTERRA has also formulated a women's health kit, which not only includes the Clary Calm, which we discussed, but a bone nutrient, because one of the things that women suffer from as the aging process occurs is bone density loss. So they have a bone nutrient and a phytoestrogen supplement, which is, again, is all estrogens from plant sources. And then the next slide just goes into those supplements for the bones, and then the supplement facts for the phytoestrogen and then the benefits for the phytoestrogen. And we're going to skip to the next slide to balance our hormones naturally. So these are things that you can do right now. You can start adding healthy fats like avocados, coconuts, healthy oils, ghee, things like that to your diet. So I know that in America, they've gotten there was a huge phase of fat-free, which is ridiculous because that's why people are becoming so depressed, because your brain needs fat to function. If you don't have fat in your diet, this is going to make you depressed, feel lethargic. You need this to process your energy, to, you know, it's very important. So healthy fats. Fresh berries of all kinds. Berries are packed with antioxidants, lignin-rich seeds, especially flax seeds, which are highest in lignin, and dark green leafy vegetables, but not too much kale, interestingly. Don't overload on kale. You want to get an adequate amount of protein, and you can get it from vegetarian sources, but I know that not everyone is a vegetarian, so I just wanted to say that you want to eat hormone-free eggs, hormone-free meats, and you don't need as much protein as we are led to believe. Maybe 3 to 4 ounces, 2 to 3 times a week, not every single meal. Here in America, they love their protein. They eat it for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. It's overwhelming. And it's also, it causes a lot of cardiac issues. Okay, so you want to eat healthy, fatty fish. Again, that's another good healthy fat source. But you want to make sure that you got to be careful with fish, because nowadays it has heavy metals in there, and depending on where you get it, make sure it's from a trusted source, or don't eat it at all. You know, I don't eat any animal products, so that's just a personal choice. Reduce and eliminate your sugar intake. Sugar is like heroin, cocaine to the body, and absolutely stop using artificial sweeteners. Do not do that. Get rid of it. You want to make sure you have proper omegas, and you must be getting pre and probiotics, because we have to support the microbiome in our gut so that we can process, digest, and assimilate all the nutrients, minerals, and supplements we can from everything that we put into our body. And when we create a really healthy microbiome, you know, getting pre and probiotics, you can ingest kefir, yogurt, kombucha, things like that. Fermented foods, very, very good for developing good, healthy microbiome. Omegas, you can get those from different oils. Flax is a very good omega source. Different, fish oil, if you are not vegetarian, is also a good source of omegas. You want to be very careful too that you are avoiding over and under eating. Okay, either one is not going to be good for your system. Think of fueling your body consistently. You must, like a car, you can't run on fumes. You can't overeat. So, and people don't know how much to eat. So put your hands out like this, like you're making a cup shape in your hand. Okay. Now you would be eating only the amount of food you can put in your hands. So it would just be like, you know, a nice little pile. You're not like trying to fit as much food in your hands as possible. But that's basically how big your stomach is, right? Let me see if you can, I don't know if you can see, but when we put our hands like this, one over the other, up to our stomach here, it's not this huge round plate of food, right? So we have to be very mindful with how much we're eating and when we're eating. And you want to eat breakfast, and if you're not a breakfast eater, you know, drink a meal replacement drink or a protein drink or something, or a smoothie or a green juice. But you have to get your system going, your metabolism going. And then ideally you would eat your largest meal between the times of maybe 11 and 2 or 3 o'clock, okay? 12 and 3 o'clock. And then a very, you know, a light dinner. so that you're not overwhelming your digestive system. And again, I can't stress enough to support your local farmers. If you have local farmers markets, please support them. Try to get away from the big grocery stores, the commercials. They're really harming our environment, and our food is traveling from all over the world. And it's best to eat your local foods that are available in the season that you are in, that's grown in your area. This is going to help boost your immune system. It'll reduce your susceptibility to allergies, and it's also going to help you to balance your hormones. And also, ideally, no caffeine, no alcohol, because these spike and depress your emotional body. Your body also recognizes these things as toxins, and it's a strain on your liver and your adrenal glands, and your body is working on overtime to filter these out. So, and it's an addiction. So let's really look at ourselves and why we're needing these addictions and get to the root cause, because once we heal the root cause, we are free, right? And that's what we really want for you. We want you to experience balance and freedom in your body. The next slide is self-care, and self-care is often thought of luxury back in the past, but now it's a buzzword, right? Everyone's self-care, self-care, self-care. Yay, finally, people are catching on. So in Ayurveda and in yoga, there is a tradition of routine, of developing what's called a devoted spiritual practice. And there's a practice called dinacharya in Ayurveda, which is developing these sacred rituals or habits in your life that are going to invite source, creator, God, that manifesting power, that higher creative energy, and bring that aspect into your life and really integrate that with yourself, because one of the reasons why we are suffering is because we feel disconnected from who we truly are. And we are spiritual beings having a physical experience, and we have forgotten who we truly are. So this is a practice of remembering. We're peeling the layers, all the schmeg off. It's like wiping off all the years of dust, cobwebs, crud, and it's like we harvested this piece of coal, and we're refining ourselves so much that we're revealing the radiance within us, the diamond energy, that radiance and that luminosity from within. And that is our optimum blueprint, which is pure health. It's not suffering, it's not degradation, it's living in bliss and living in your joy. So the next slide is just it's just kind of a little fun self-care calendar. And I know it's really hard to read, but when you watch the recording, you can kind of blow it up. But if you are interested in developing a daily routine that's specific for your constitution, that's my specialty. So you're welcome to contact me and we can work personally. Or you can just work with Sophia or whoever invited you to this video or this class, and start to integrate some of these practices that are really going to help you specifically, because we are unique individuals. We have all shapes and sizes. And remember when we were little and you have a baby and you have the different colors and the shapes in a box, and we're trying to fit the different shapes in that hollow box. Well, you can't put a heart in a square, and you can't put a square in a circle. And so I can't fit into some generalized protocol, some generalized diet, nor can you, which is one of the reasons why things aren't working for you. So when you really customize a wellness program to you, that's when you're really going to see some radical results. So the next slide is just inviting you to work with whoever invited you to this class to develop not only a 14-day program, but these 2 weeks will develop a foundation that you can build on for the rest of your life. And then, of course, we can alter that as we grow and change, because it has to be organic, right? Because we're never the same. So this is one of the great things about when you when you purchase, you make your first purchase from doTERRA with whoever invited you. They work with you individually to help you customize a wellness plan. And one of the ways that you can save money is purchasing your products on doTERRA's loyalty reward program. And that way, it's like getting a monthly package. It's like every time I get my box, it's my monthly present to myself, because I'm worth it, right? And so are you. And so when we help you develop a customized wellness plan, you might feel overwhelmed and say, oh my gosh, these are so many products. How am I supposed to integrate them all into my life? Well, in order to make long-term, permanent, and sustainable change, we kind of spoon feed you like a baby, right? We do it in baby steps. So we can't expect to change our lifestyle in 2 weeks. It takes practice. So what do they say? It takes 21 days to cultivate a habit, 40 days to solidify it, and 3 months for it to really become integrated into your daily routine without any effort at all. So this is our goal, is to work with each of you individually to help you to address your personal issues. And the next slide, we just want to say thank you and namaste. And then the last slide is just, you know, these are some of the people that I work with personally in this business. And there are lots of healthcare providers, moms, therapists, yogis, and many different kind of health practitioners, wellness coaches, and nurses. And just know that this is something that it works for everyone, because we're just bringing it back to plant-based. And I just want to leave it open to Sophia if you want to add anything. I'd love to hear from you, and then we can open it for questions.
Thanks, Karuna. I'm going to stop the share so I can see people. There we go. So much better. That was great. Thank you very much. I mean, I still learn from you, and I'm just so grateful that you give so freely of your time to educate us on these oils. It's really, really helpful, and it's quite amazing of you. So thank you very much. And I just want to thank everyone for coming and for spending your Friday night with us. And if you have any questions, please feel free to ask. Karuna has, like I've said, a wealth of knowledge, so she will be more than happy to help you answer questions. Or if something pops up later that you think, damn, I should have asked, because that always happens, just send me a message, and I can always find out. If I don't have the answer, I can always find out from Karuna, and we can help you with whatever you're going through. But if you do have any questions now, please feel free to ask. You can just unmute yourself and ask Karuna, and just share anything that you'd like to share.
So I have a question. Sure. Firstly, thank you to you and Karuna. I think the session was very, very interesting. Very interested in that deep blue. My husband suffers so much. He had a bad cycling accident with his shoulder and his neck, and always in pain. So I'm definitely learning new things. A question I have is just how many different oils can you use a day? Or how much of one could you use a day?
Okay, it depends on how you're using them. Topically, you can use any combination of oils all day, every day. You can diffuse them. I diffuse them almost 24/7. I live in a small area. I live in an RV, so I'm diffusing all the time. Internally is a different thing. So you can take them internally every day, but I would do like maybe 1 or 2 drops a day if you're doing them every day. And if you can take up to 24 drops of oil internally in a 24-hour period as an adult, and half that as a younger person, but not children under 5. And
I think
so
just,
you would be
yeah.
doing that if you had like something that you like that is acute, you know, like say all of a sudden I feel like I'm getting the flu or something. I would put 4 drops of my On Guard in a mug full of hot water like tea and drink that. So that's 4 drops, and I could do that 6 times a day until, you know, my flu-like symptoms went away. So something like that. But I wouldn't take, you know, 24 drops every single day.
I think also just a reminder that there's also a lot of hot oils that we can't take internally, like your oregano or your cinnamon or what else is there? Obviously, deep blue you can't take internally.
Well,
Oregano you
I'm
can
gonna
take in veggie caps though, right?
Yeah, I was going to say you can take it internally.
Yeah.
There, let's talk about the hot oils. So hot oils are oils that actually can burn your skin. And I always experiment on myself because I have to know what I'm recommending to other people. So doTERRA's essential oil of oregano is not like any other oil of oregano on the market. Okay, it's super, super strong. So the first time I tried it, I had a spoonful of honey and I put a drop of oregano on it, just 1 drop. A spoonful of honey, like a heaping spoon. And I put it in my mouth and I was just like, oh my God, it's so hot. It's so hot. I also, when I was talking about the burn in the sun, even though oregano oil is not considered a photosensitive oil, it can burn the skin. So when I was talking about my friend who burned their skin, she had a toothache, and oregano is known as a natural antibiotic. So it can actually help kill infection when you take it internally. So I told her it was a very hot oil, and she's like, oh yeah, I know essential oils. I use them all the time. And I'm like, yeah, but you've never used doTERRA's oil before. And she's like, yeah. And so she was in a hurry. She was half listening, and she was like, how should I do it? And I said, put it in a veggie cap, or, if you put it directly on, you have to dilute it and maybe do like fractionated coconut oil and do like not even a drop, like take a wooden toothpick and have your spoonful of fractionated coconut oil and just put. So when you open the oil, and you can do this with cooking too, because I made the mistake of putting too much oil in the cooking. You take a toothpick, a wooden toothpick, and you'll see that this bottle, it's moist on the top. I don't even have to do anything. So you can just swab the top of it with a wooden toothpick and then just swirl that in your spoonful of fractionated coconut oil or your food, because you can always add more, but you can't take it out. And then you can take it that way because coconut oil is very cooling. And it also, you can swish it around your mouth, and that way it can move right into the infected area. And then you can swallow that, but I would advise if you're doing a swirl like that for an infection that you don't swallow it, you spit it out. So she didn't do that, and she took a finger on the top of the oregano oil, or a drop of oregano oil on her finger, and put her finger right on her infection on the back of her mouth. And of course, it was burning so badly. And so she didn't listen to me. And you do not ever want to wash anything off with soap and water or water when you have a negative reaction like that with essential oils, whether it's in your eyes or you're having a rash on your skin or you feel like it's burning your skin. You are going to dilute it with a carrier oil. And if you only have olive oil or vegetable oil in your house, that's what you're going to use. Never wash it because it intensifies it. So when you dilute the oil, it does just that. It dilutes it so that but it also will penetrate into your skin over a longer period of time, but it will reduce that negative reaction, okay? So what happened is she washed her mouth out, brushed her teeth, and then of course some of it got on the outside of her face. So that day, she was outside and, you know, we're in Mexico, high sun all day, reflecting off the pool. She has a small child. She was in the sun all day. And then the next day she had like a huge, looked like a fever blister or like a herpes outbreak or something. And, you know, she called me up all upset. And she's like, what do I do? I can't believe this happened. And she was really mad at me. And of course, I'm not going to be like, I told you, blah, blah, blah. You know, you just try to keep finding remedies for people. And of course, there are essential oils to rectify that, which is lavender and the blend Immortelle. So I immediately went over to her house, told her how to use it. And she was mad at me for a good year. And then I didn't see her for a while. And then I saw her again, and like a year later, and she couldn't see anything anymore. And, you know, she was like, you were right. I'm sorry. I got so upset. I was in such a hurry. I just didn't listen. So just be very careful. So when you're using oregano oil, you want to put it in a veggie capsule, 1 or 2 drops only. Take it internally. And then I like to take a spoonful of coconut oil afterwards, because that will coat the interior lining of the digestive tract, and it's cooling. So it will alleviate any of that burning sensation. A lot of people say that when they ingest oils, especially oregano oil, because it's so strong, that they will burp it up. And when you burp up any kind of taste, that's a sign that you are dehydrated. So you need to drink more water, okay? Staying hydrated is very important for your health too. Let me see, what else can I say about? Oh, also, if you're taking oregano oil, you don't want to take it internally longer than for like 10 days or so, because then it can build up as a toxin in the body.
Thanks, Karuna.
Oh, one more thing. And when you're using the hot oils topically, you can put them on the soles of the feet undiluted, no problem. They won't burn the skin of the soles of the feet, because the skin of the soles of your feet is quite different from your other skin on your body. It's much more tough, and it can really handle that. But I always recommend diluting your oils, because, you know, let's face it, it's nice to dilute your oils and hydrate your skin. And like I said, when you dilute your oils, they last longer. They will move into the body over a longer period of time, because if you're putting the oils on meat directly on your skin, as soon as you open the caps of your essential oil bottles, they make contact with air. Because they have chemical constituents in here, it creates an alchemy. So these can alchemize and change if you leave them uncapped, if you leave them in direct sunlight, okay? So you want to keep them in a dark, cool space, which is one of the reasons why they're in darker bottles. So keep your caps on tight, and you keep them out of the heat. So I think that's it. Oh, and the last thing that I want to say is that doTERRA also offers a business opportunity. And I'm doing this, I'm partnering with Sophia and Natalie, who's on the call here, Natalie Mutinelli, in this business along with Dr. Daniel, who I had mentioned. And this is a really amazing business opportunity that can help you either supplement your income or create financial freedom. So if you're interested in learning about the business opportunity, just again, contact the person who invited you to this, and I'll share that with you. And just so you know, I got one of my biggest paychecks from doTERRA last month, and I paid off the loan to my car and all my credit cards. So I am now debt-free, and I consider myself now financially empowered.
Well done, Karuna. That's awesome.
Thank you so much. So happy and grateful.
That's awesome.
All right, friends, any other questions? Thoughts? Okay, if they come up, then again, just ask us, feel free. And I just want to thank you so much for taking your time and sharing yourself, and I'm so grateful for the opportunity to share, So I'm really passionate about plant medicine and natural health, and it's been my thing since I was 19. So I just want to be a walking billboard for the practice and what we're doing here and sharing, because it works.
Thank you so much, Karuna.
And
thank you to everyone else for joining us. Hope you guys have a super weekend.
Bye, everyone.
Guys.
Namaste.
Bye. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye. Thank